What's up? What's up, y'all? We're back at it again. We have a Holy Mic feature here. We're going to have a lovely conversation today. So we just want to get to know our featured artist a little more. And this is going to be for Holy Mic on May 28th, 2026 at the Hill Church. Y'all know where we at already. It's 2900 North Van Buren Street, Wilmington, Delaware, 19802. The doors open 6:30. We get started around 7 until 9 o'clock p.m. So we have our wonderful feature here, JD Green. Woo, the crowd goes wild. Yay, yay, yay.
Hello.
Welcome. Let us know one word to describe how you're feeling right now.
Open.
That's good. That's a good word to start. Yes. So I hope you're ready to be open and just share, whatever's on your heart and help us get to know you so that way we can be prepared, a little more prepared for Thursday.
Okay.
So, what we're going to do first is just let us know a little bit about like what you do.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out how to present it because that's important. I am a transdisciplinary artist. And so while I am a poet and a singer, I'm also an improviser and performer, a storyteller. And I approach creativity and art in a holistic way. And I try really to connect voice and craft and the message to connect with people in the most effective way possible. So for a long time, it was primarily singing and poetry as separate. But more and more, I'm putting those things together, as well as some of the other creative aspects of what it is that I do.
Okay, awesome. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Oh, a whole bunch of stuff. Yes.
I love that because sometimes it's like sometimes you might start a poem or something and then you hear some music or somebody you're performing and they just start playing in the back. It's like, okay. Yeah. So it's nice that you get to dibble and dabble in different things. Would you say you have a favorite way you like to express yourself maybe out of those that you listed?
I would say freedom is actually more important than anything to me, but I've been a singer for the longest. I've been singing since I was 10. And when it comes to performance and sharing with folks and getting in front of people, it's been singing. And what's funny is once I moved to Delaware, because I'm not originally from Delaware, but when I moved to Delaware and then later Wilmington, I've gotten to be known as a poet first, which is a bit newer, or folks are learning that I'm doing both of those things. And so I kind of get to introduce myself in a way that says, this is some of what I do, but like, come on in. Let's see how we can connect. Let's see what else we can do together.
Awesome. That's very interesting because it's like you guys don't even know the half, but at least you get a little taste of this. And as time goes on, I'm pretty sure it's like discovering like, wow, she has many layers. Like you know.
I think, and we all do. I would say most artists do. Sometimes, no, often we get locked into these disciplinary boxes, or with poets, like a certain type of poet that you are, a certain type of work that you do. And I think for most people, if we have the permission to be more than just one or two things, that we can more fully be grounded in what it is that we're here to do.
Right. That's a good point because you don't want to like limit, different things. Because I always remember, because I don't typically say I'm a singer, but I remember this was back in elementary school. The music teacher was like, everybody can sing now, whether you sound good or not. And that's still up to the person, We
all have a voice.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that. So tell us a little bit more, like have you always been doing this? Like maybe when you were growing up, or did something spark like, oh, hey, actually this sounds good. Like, or did somebody tell you or?
Which part?
Right. So when it comes to like your craft, like, did you start when you were younger? tell us a little bit more, I guess, about the beginning stages.
Okay. Well, I would say that when it comes to the singing, I started singing really seriously when I was in high school. And it's where my classical training started and like the foundation of my musicianship. So I was in like choir in high school and I sang through college and was in a lot of different like vocal groups. When I initially went to college, I went as a music education major with a vocal performance focus. And I ended up changing my major, but I never stopped singing. And so the way that I connect to song is really important to how I move through life. That a lot of times people connect to music that's external first, or, like playing on a piano or something like that. And for me, I had to learn later that the song begins inside of me. That the song, that the message, the story, that those things start inside of me, and that I have a gift to share not other people's work but my own. And so over time, the singing has changed, but I started writing poetry ultimately when I was in college, to try to figure out how to talk about what I was experiencing. When I was in school, my mom was very sick. She had cancer, and it was a really aggressive form of stomach cancer. And so when she was ill, I was, constantly scribbling in my notebook, and I was kind of writing these stories and narratives, essays and stuff like that. But when she did pass, she went between my junior and senior years of college. The only thing that could really give me the words that I needed was poetry, that I needed to be able to use language in a way that broke rules and that could create meaning and image and connection that could truly get to the heart of how I was feeling, because there were no individual words. There weren't necessarily songs. Like I needed a new way to create in order to understand this new world that I was a part of. And so poetry in particular has come in and out of my life in different intensity based on what's going on and my need to be able to express myself. And also understanding that the messages and the work that's coming through me, I'm not the only person that's dealing with that. I'm not the only person that's struggling with that. And so it really made it so that my arts have always been expressive, so that it's not just about kind of what's in my head, but it's also about the human connection that we have. And song and poetry and storytelling, those things are meant to pull other people in. And I'm always trying to pull those things out of other folks, because that's in large part how we heal.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And rest in peace to your mom. I'm pretty sure that was a difficult time, but like you said, like expressing yourself and finding a way how to do that, it can be very healing. So yes, it definitely can be. And I do want to ask you a question, I guess. What piece of advice would you give someone who feels like they don't know where to start when it comes to expressing themselves, or maybe they just found a particular craft they're interested in? Like, what piece of advice maybe would you give someone just starting out or just getting curious on how to express themselves?
I would say let it out first. So when it comes to performance, when it comes to writing, when it comes to craft, we can't create and edit at the same time, because the part that wants to get it out gets stopped by the part that wants it to come out in a certain way. And especially when we're first connecting to expression, it can be hard. Like feelings are hard. Feelings and thoughts are hard. And so I always suggest to people like free write first, or if you have the notes app on your phone or the voice recorder, sometimes you just got to turn it on and let what's inside you come out, because we don't know how we feel about something until we let it come out. And so I'm always that the expression needs to come first, that you have to be in a space where you feel safe. And if you feel like you have to protect yourself, if you feel like you have to edit, if you feel like you have to fix it, then the things that are supposed to come through you won't be able to, because you're closing the gate when the door needs to be open. So I'm always advocating for artists, because I'm an auntie artist. I've been doing this a long time. And so when I talk to young artists or people who are moving into spaces for the first time, it's like, yo, you have to let yourself let it out. And you don't have to share everything. that comes. A lot of the stuff is just for us. And then later, if you come back to it and you want to shape it into a poem or shape it into a song or shape it into something else, you can do that. But my advice is always just to kind of turn on the faucet. You know how you turn on the faucet and the water's not quite how you want it yet? And you got to let it run. It got to get to the right temperature. It's got to get to, it might be cloudy. You don't want no cloudy water. You have to kind of let the other stuff come through first to get to the sweet water. And it takes time and it takes practice, but it also takes a kind of freedom just by yourself to be able to let yourself create without judgment.
That's good. That's real good. And I heard that word open. I said, yeah, there go that word open and freedom. Mm-hmm. That's really good. So I hope you guys are listening. She's dropping the gems here. Okay. Don't miss it. Keep your ears open. Okay. So that's good. I do also want to ask, in regards to your storytelling and different, or even writing, do you have a particular process? I would guess and say that you like to keep, you turn on your faucet, but is there a particular way? Maybe some people, they like to, go out into nature. Some people, if something comes in their mind while they're in the shower, they're like, oh, I got to hurry up and jot it down or do a voice memo. Like, kind of walk us through a little bit of what it might look like.
It depends. It's sometimes I've gotten to the point where I know when something is coming and I can grab a notebook. Like I always have a notebook nearby, paper notebook, electronic notebook. I always have a notebook. I do use voice notes on my phone that I know the feeling now when something's trying to come through, when something's gathering, and I have to make sure my tools are ready. So like that's a big part of it. I've also learned that as an artist, as a poet, and someone who's invested in my craft, not only do I perform, but I write my work and I submit it for publication. And I have different fellowships. So the current fellowship that I have right now is from the Delaware Department of the Arts. And it's one of the individual artist fellowships for poetry and as an established artist. And so I have to do a public performance of my work. But to get to that point and doing the writing sample and the artist statement, you really have to know your work. You have to know what it's about and what happens in it and how you do it and what certain things mean and be able to clarify those things so that other people can trust you and not give you money. You have to be able to talk about what you're doing in a way that, and then they can see it in what it is. And so a lot of my craft goes beyond the initial expression that then when it's time to edit and shape, I'm constantly revising until I feel a sense of peace. And it may be that I'm still sending the poem out, or I'm performing it at open mics and I'm trying to find where the grooves and contours are, but you're always going to find me back doing revisions. And I keep those revisions. I don't really throw copies away. I keep those things because you never know when you might need it. You might want to come back or do something else. So basically, to sum it up, I'm always ready, because I know it can come at any time, like in the shower, like driving, like doing something else, and creating the space to create, but also creating that space to edit and revise so that I can polish the work to become what it needs to be, not just for me, and my standards are high, but what it also needs to be for the world and for the other people that are going to read it or other people that are going to experience in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, especially about you basically have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Okay.
If you gonna do it, right, you might as well stay ready. And yesterday I went to the movies and I saw Is God Is, and it's a great movie. I had so many thoughts that afterward, because I had my notebook while the credits were going, I was writing in my notebook, and then when I got out to the parking lot, I could feel the song coming, and so I was kind of singing it to myself while I'm sneaking out my phone because I got to catch myself in the act, and I recorded, and I stood in the parking lot looking like a woman who might have been mentally disturbed because I'm just like singing or murmuring into my phone, and I'm not getting in the car. I'm not just like talking on the phone, but I'm just like, and it comes out sometimes fully formed that I can go back later and fix it and shape it. But what came out yesterday was what needed to come out. I had to be open. and open and prepared, because you never know when one of the messages that you need needs clarity. And I'm always trying to be clear.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I feel like you hit the nail on the head, because there's been moments I've gotten some things and I was like, oh yeah, I'll write it down later.
You're not going to remember that.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
it might not come back.
Yeah. And that's the part when it doesn't come back, I'm like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it's definitely, it doesn't matter who's looking, who's not looking. Like, hey, this is something important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who's watching. I don't, they don't need to understand.
It's not about them at that point.
Yeah, it's not about them. So that's good. And I did have a question though. I wanted to. We might be shifting gears a little bit, but I did want to ask: do you have any? Let's see, like influential people, maybe, or someone that you looked up to as an artist? Like, hey, like I would really like to work with that person, or it could just be someone simple, maybe a family member or someone in your community.
I have mentors that have really helped to guide me. My teachers have been really crucial in my development. So I would start with my high school choral director, Nina Scott, that she was at Renaissance High School in Detroit for a long time. And her legacy of choral excellence I can go places and tell people that she was my teacher, and they know what I'm coming with because of the quality of her work in the world. I have another mentor, Dr. Estella Conwell Majozo. She was a professor at the University of Louisville. I was working on my PhD, and I took a poetry class with her, and she's an amazing person just in general. She's like, we're gonna get it done, and she'll write a book like that, and she'll write that book, she'll publish that book, she'll send it out, but she loves to like put things together. And so she had me singing in ways I'd never sung before while I was learning to be a poet at the same time when I was in school. And so like those people have definitely helped me to get to the point where I am. And then there are different poets that I'm in relationship with, there are different musicians that I work with and then I talk with. But it's for me, there's also my mother's voice in my mind, that she was a very positive force, and she was a fierce force for me. I lost her when I was 20, and it's actually 25 years this month that she's been gone. But there was a steady script in my head of things that she told me since I was a child, like, you're going to do great things off the top. You're going to do great things. You're a leader, not a follower. That she recognized me as an artist when I was young, and she protected me, because young artists are vulnerable. And most people don't value art. They don't value being a singer or a poet or a writer. They want you to get a job. And, or if you're going to do that stuff, you got to get rich, you got to get famous so that we can feel good about it. So those are some of the folks that have been in my ear and have helped me work. But what I find is that there's community around me. So like one of my close poet friends here in Wilmington is Dr. Tracy Curry. She and I met a couple years ago. I'm the literature and Africana studies librarian at the University of Delaware, and we were doing the poetry as activism, and we needed a poet in residence. And so I was on the search committee that pulled her in because she's amazing, and the work that she does in the community is wonderful. And we became friends. And so she's also helping me move throughout the community. G. Jones is another person in Wilmington who has really been helpful. David Harris, who loves him some Holy Mike. These are folks, Savvy Kara, these are folks in Wilmington that are working to make this kind of beautiful artistic community flourish. Dennis Spence, I know he's been a feature. It wasn't that, so that there are people that they don't necessarily have to be famous people, but they're people that are doing the work and that are really community focused, and they've taken me in and they support my work and they want to share it with other people. So I would say that, the work that I do by myself, and I have people that read manuscripts and things with me and writing groups, but the folks that impact me the most are ones that are right here in this really beautiful community that's flourishing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I always say like community is so important. Like I didn't know how important it was until I actually got it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's beautiful. I love that. And I also like what you said about, a lot of people, they're like, oh, you either need to be super popular or rich, or it's like you got to get a real job. But it's just finding that sweet spot in the middle. Like, hey, I make a lot of these things for myself, but then
Mm-hmm.
also I can share with other people and not have the pressure of worrying about, trying to make it per se. It's like we're making it here in our community. You can do more for somebody here than you can do elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important. And I do want to ask, let's say, because I'm pretty sure you're mentoring others, and like you said, you're the poet, you're like auntie.
I'm
So
an auntie.
what would you say to younger Yolanda JD Green? Like, what would you say to her in regards to like your craft and different things like that?
Believe that you are better than you think. That you are that you are a vessel for beautiful things, and that you deserve to love yourself and to let the scary things, as I used to be, I needed a rehearsal. I was such a perfectionist. And becoming an improviser is wild because I go out there and I make it up. And it's part of my craft. But I've had to carry those Yolandas with me that get a little anxious. And it's like I'm holding hands with all of the versions of myself that came before now, saying that we can do it and that we've done it. And we've surmounted so many things, and there's so many accomplishments, and there's so many wonderful things coming, that it's just like, girl, just go with it, have a good time, trust yourself, um, trust that if you fall you will be caught, and that you are not by yourself. So those are the kinds of things that even I tell myself still, that you have to be brave and give yourself space to be proud of what you accomplish. Because a lot of times we push through and we just do the things because we're supposed to be doing it, and not necessarily doing the things understanding that we have fulfillment from them, but also that we're good at them. That we don't have to be ashamed of being feeling good about what you do well.
That's beautifully
You don't
said.
have to feel guilty. You can be like, I did that.
Right.
You can give credit elsewhere, but like, I did that. And that's a good thing. And then you can move on to something else.
Mm, that is so beautiful. Write that down next time. Write that down. I'm gonna actually go back. Look, you gotta go back and look at this recording, because that was really beautiful. That was, thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
So I do want to ask if you could share a little bit of something of yours with us. It's just a little,
Just
just
a
a
little.
sneak peek of what we can
Okay.
expect on Thursday.
Okay. I don't know how much time I have, but I'll do a shorter piece of mine. And it's called In Response to Time Magazine's photographic elegy, The Remains of Detroit. And there's a little epigraph. And when the groove is dead and gone, yeah, you know that love survives, and we can rock forever. Rock with You, recorded by Michael Jackson on Epic Records in '79. Though now the Motown sound is dirge, and the smoking dragons have ceased even to sputter, and the creature, beautiful, horrible, that only snacked itself for decades, has begun to eat its tail in earnest. Smaller, smaller, gorging, collapsing, starving, and the ground is poison now, perhaps choked by soot and fumes from earth to sky. My mama is buried there. And the migrations have begun again. All has gone to seed, perhaps, as God intended, swallowed up in grief. And the city, ruined, wounded, lay gaping. Firebomb storefronts still smolder from the white-hot combustion of black rage turned inward. And the grapevine swears there is no chorus, no doo-wop, no tambourine hand clap, no soulful croon, no wonder. Only the mournful taps, shined black shoes, stealing for the inevitable weight only the pallbearer knows. My mama is buried there. And we who continue to keep the time, the pulse in our pockets, the beat in our souls, who live our days ever under the groove, we know deep in our funky and battered hearts that sometimes the miracles don't really get cooking until after the second bridge.
Mm.
That's to my city. It's an old poem, but it's Time Magazine had an article that was saying, the remains of Detroit, and it was a bunch of disaster and abandoned buildings and things like that, suggesting that, Detroit is dead, and it's not. And so as Motown, as this place full of soul and music and possibility, like, you can never count Detroit out. So that's in dedication to my home.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I love we got a chance to hear you sing.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. I said, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. So you guys, you got to make sure you're there on Thursday, May 28th, 2026, because y'all heard it. It's a little snippet. And I'm like, I want to hear the rest.
Hey,
I want to hear the rest. Okay. So I hope you guys will be open to come out and join us at Holy Mike. Y'all know where we're at, the Hill Church, 2900 North Van Buren Street, Wilmington, Delaware, 19801. And Yalonda JD Green, how can we connect with you? Is there anything else you want to say quickly before we wrap it?
You can find me on the socials. Instagram is probably the easiest one. The handle is Londy Jamel, LondyJamel. And in my bio, there is my link tree, and you can find performances. You can find recordings that I've done, some of my work. There's a bunch of stuff that are there on the link tree, and it's linktree/Londy Jamel. And I've got some performances and things coming up, but most stuff you can find there on Instagram. And I look forward to connecting with folks.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, Holy Mike, we like to connect, to fellowship, just to share. It's just an awesome vibe you guys don't want to miss. So come out if you have something you would like to share. Something you might have been working on, and you're like, hey, I actually do want to share this with other people. It's a perfect place to do so. So definitely come out. I'm super excited. And it's a free event, you guys. It's no cost. We just ask that you bring a friend, maybe. Bring a friend or two, and just bring yourself with just willingness to be there, to show up. You know what I'm saying? That's all we ask. So we'll love to see you guys there. And you can follow, I'm pretty sure they'll have all of the Hills handles down in the description. So be sure to follow us to make sure that you're connected with us. I cannot wait to see you guys, and I cannot wait to hear more. We have like a gazillion in one special, not a 2-for-1 special. She's super talented, multifaceted, and I just can't wait to hear what she has for us. So we're going to go ahead and say peace.
Bye.